KUMAR. My enrollment number is DY30278. I'm present with my group members. Topic is Canada versus Australia, measures affecting the importation of salmon. Thank you. Now I would like to call to my next group member. Thank you.
Hi, I am Waheed. My student ID is VSS30198. Today, me and my group members are going to present a case on Australia versus Canada. So before starting the case, I would like to invite my group members to come here and introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is POONJA and my student ID is VSS2917.
My name is MEHMOOD. My student ID is VSS2673.
Hi, my name is Wahaj SHABBIR. My student ID is VSS3904.
Morning, everyone. Please be seated. I would like the defendant to proceed the case, please.
Hello, Judge. My name is Waheed VSS30198. My student ID is VSS3904. I would like to study the case of Canada versus Australia, measures affecting the importation of salmon, with my colleague Murtaza Ali. And I would like to start the salmon company included the complement party from Canada, while the respondent party from Australia under the agreement of SPS Art 5.1, 5.5 and 5.6. The case involves the issue of prohibition on importing of several salmon from Canada for the products including Canadian salmon that were fresh or frozen ocean. The complaint was made by Canada to the World Trade Organization for the restrictions of importing the Canadian salmon fish. The major reason for imposing the ban on importing the salmon from Canada was to prevent the entry of prospect disease due to the non-fresh products or the products that has been treated by smoke or heat. The case indicates the articles of SPS 5.1 for the purpose of risk assessment. The case also includes the rules on Article 5.5 for prohibition on discrimination and concealed restriction on international trade. Additionally, the case involves the Article 5.6 considering the proper level of protection for the technical procedures within the reasonable time. Article 5.1, the agreement requires the organizational members to follow the sanitary measures for the products that are imported, for that any kind of disease does not enter in the region. The application of the articles and rules in case of salmon trade between Canada and Australia, because the product of salmon was contended by as an unhealthy and unsafe. Canada contended that their products did not contain any unhygienic elements, are not unsafe or prone to disease for the consumption of Australia. Considering the first part of the article, can be interpreted that the Australia had violated the rules of the purpose of risk assessment for the salmon product. Australia was required to conduct the measures for importing the products as customer ready because the prohibition on importing the products in Australia was required to be assessed. Another important measure requires to analyze the reasons for prohibition on the international trade to protect the human consumption for the food and crops. It is essential to analyze the important measures of salmon because in case the unhealthy products are entered with the disease prone, it could affect the health of the society. The important procedures for the salmon product in Australia should be consistent with the regulations of Article 5 with respect to the level of protection. The members of the World Trade Organization are required to consider the consistency for the feasibility of economic measures as well as the alternative measures to resolve the prohibition of the international trade. It was observed by the panel that Australia had failed to implement required measures for the safety measures as mentioned in the SPS agreement, as the requirement was to ensure the safety and sanitary measures. It was observed in the further examination that the import of salmon products in Australia was in accordance with the procedures specified in the articles for the protection of human consumption. Was further notified that Articles 5.6 required to measure the level of protection for the purpose of international trade that was required to be justified scientifically. Now, I would like to ask Mr. Murtaza to conclude some points, please.
Thank you. So, Judge, my name is POONJA, student ID VSS30198. I would like to conclude some points on this case. So, I would like to start considering the requirements of the articles regarding international trade. It had been observed by the panel that Australia failed to comply with the regulation of the articles with respect to the risk assessment. Australia was also found to be inconsistent with the rules of protection law as per the requirements of. It was further observed by the panel that the complaint made by Canada was justified as the respondent did not follow the corrective and responsive measure for the technical feasibility for the benefits of society. It was contended by the panel that the respondent did not follow the corrective and additional measures to secure the protection of the international trade for the fish products. And in the end, as the salmon fish production for the purpose of consumer consumption was conducted by artificial procedures like smoking, it was required to examine and evaluate the safety measures for the purpose of conducting international trade. It is essential to ensure the protective level, especially for the food and the crops that are meant for the human consumptions. Any product, if carries infected diseases, should not be imported in the region as it constitutes the harms to the society. Therefore, the ban on importing the salmon from Canada was imposed. It was essential for Australia to assess the risk on frozen, fresh, non-frozen salmon to determine the safety of its consumption in the importing region. Hence, the complaint, that is Canada, was allowed to monitor the requirements and implementation of the SPS agreement and Article 5. And I would like to end my presentation here. Thank you.
It's a decision from the panel. For the purpose of conducting international trade, it is essential to ensure the protective level, especially for the food and crops that are meant for human consumption. Any product, if carries infected disease, should not be imported in the region. The court is adjourned.
All good. Thanks.